In life's journey, some words touch the heart. Those golden words we bring to you.
It begins in the quiet, so quiet, no one else even sees it. You're a child, maybe 7, maybe 8. You're watching a parent, and they're not there. They're lost in addiction, or consumed by rage, or just an empty shell of depression. And in that silence, a decision is made, not in words, but in your bones. If I don't keep things stable, everything will fall apart. This is how a childhood evaporates. Not by disappearing physically, but by becoming a performance. You learn to smile when you're scared. You learn to swallow your tears. You master the art of reading a room, becoming a tiny emotional seismograph. Sensing the tremors before the earthquake, you become the household's peacekeeper. You become a small adult, long before your heart is ready, and the world rewards you for it. You're so mature for your age. You're so responsible. You're such a strong little one. But the praise is a trap. No one ever leans in to ask, at what cost? This is the hidden trauma of the child who grew up too fast. And today, we're going deep into the heart of that experience. Because those adaptations don't just disappear. They become the blueprint for your life. They follow you. They dictate your relationships, your career, your fundamental sense of self. And if you don't understand why you do what you do, you will spend your adult life repeating the very survival patterns that once saved you, but are now keeping you trapped. Let's start with the mechanism. When a child is consistently forced to provide emotional support to an adult, rather than receiving it, psychologists have a name for it. Parentification. It's when the child becomes the caregiver, the mediator, the counselor, the protector. This isn't just dysfunctional. It rewires the nervous system. When a child is made responsible for their own emotional regulation and that of the adults around them, it creates a state of hypervigilance. You are always on high alert. You scan for danger. You live on eggshells. You learn that love isn't a given, it's a transaction. You provide peace, and maybe you get to be safe. You learn that your needs are a problem, but their needs are an emergency. So, you vanish. Not your body, but yourself. And in your place, a new self is built, a performer. The good child, the high achiever, the therapist friend. D1 Woe. He's low maintenance and never asks for a thing. You play this role so well, for so long, you forget it's a costume. But deep down, something aches. Because the inner child you locked away didn't die. They are still in there, and they are silently screaming, why did no one ever protect me? As you get older, these symptoms mature with you. You might become fiercely hyper-independent. You refuse help, believing that to need anything is to be a burden. You might feel a strange numbness during happy moments, because joy feels temporary, unearned, or even dangerous. You might struggle to rest, because your entire sense of worth is tangled up in your productivity. You are, in effect, still in survival mode. Because when dysfunction is your baseline, chaos feels like home. Stillness feels threatening. Peace feels suspicious, and genuine, stable love feels like a debt you can't figure out how to repay. This is the psychology of a child forced to mature too quickly. It's not just a sad past. It's a complex trauma that has shaped how you see the world, and more importantly, how you see yourself. You might ask, why would any child take on that burden? Because a child will do anything for attachment. They will even abandon themselves. The choice is never conscious. It's biologic. In the absence of safety, a child will sacrifice authenticity to gain belonging. That isn't weakness. It's a brilliant, tragic intelligence. But here's the trap. The very thing that saved you then is what imprisons you now. So many of us are walking around as high-functioning adults, piloted by a deeply neglected inner child. We overachieve to earn our place. We stay silent to avoid abandonment. We take care of everyone, harboring a secret, desperate fantasy that someone, just once, will look past our competence, see that we're drowning, and ask if we're okay. That fantasy that someone will finally see you're not as strong as you pretend, and give you permission to finally fall apart and be held. That is the unmet need, not of the adult you are, but of the child who never got to be one. The first step to healing is not to fix, it's to witness, because until you validate what happened, your own mind will gaslight you. You're hula shy. It wasn't that bad, or other people had it worse, or I turned out fine. But fine is the most dangerous mask of all, and you know it. So what happens to that child when they grow up? They become adults who never feel safe, even in a calm room. They become lovers who can't trust softness. They become givers who don't know how to receive. They become the kind of people who apologize for crying, feel awkward at compliments, and mistake exhaustion for success. This is the cost of growing up too fast. If your childhood trained you to be strong at the expense of being real, to be quiet instead of honest, to fix everyone else while ignoring your own fractures, what kind of adulthood do you inherit? You get a life where you're always holding your breath, waiting for someone, anyone, to give you permission to finally let go. But here is the truth. No one is coming to rescue the child you buried. You are. The adult you are today is the only one who can go back and hold their hand. You are the one who must say what no one else did. You didn't deserve that. It was not your fault. You were just a child. You can rest now. This is the beginning of the real work. Not fixing, not performing, not plastering over the pain with toxic positivity. It's turning toward the abandoned parts of yourself and saying, I see you now. I hear you now, and I am not leaving. That is the repairing process. And it is brutal. It asks you to finally feel the grief you never had time to feel. It asks you to sit with the rage, the sorrow, the profound, unmet need, to mourn the innocence you lost while you were busy protecting people who should have been protecting you. But that grief is not weakness. It's the ultimate proof that you are healing, because what was frozen for decades is finally beginning to thaw. Now, let's talk about how this pattern shows up today. You might be the therapist in all your friendships, but you never let anyone see your own vulnerability. You might be praised for your independence, when really you're just terrified of being a burden. You might find yourself in relationships where you are always managing, fixing, and over-explaining, only to wind up exhausted and resentful. You might struggle with boundaries, because no still feels like a betrayal. These are not your personality traits. They are your coping strategies. They were learned, they were conditioned. And the good news is, they can be unlearned, but only when you stop idolizing your strength and start honoring your wounds. One of the most powerful things you can do is begin to ask your inner child, what did you need back then that you never got? You may hear answers like, I needed someone to tell me it wasn't my job. I needed someone to ask how I was doing. I needed to play, to rest, and to laugh without being afraid. And then, slowly, you begin to give those things to yourself. Not to change your past, but to stop your past from changing your future. This is how you stop seeking parents in your partners. This is how you stop mistaking the echo of old anxiety for your intuition. This is how you stop running from the child you were, and finally integrate them into the self you are becoming. Carl Jung once said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. But this work demands that we face it, all of it. The neglected part, the ashamed part, the scared part, the angry part. Because healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who you had to be. So, if you are someone who grew up too fast, know this. Your maturity was never the problem. The problem was that you had no choice. But now, you do. You can choose softness. You can choose to rest. You can choose to stop managing everyone else's emotions and start validating your own. No, it won't happen overnight. There will be days you feel just like that kid again. Good. That's the point. Let that child come home. Let them cry. Let them play. Let them finally be seen. Because you are not broken. You are becoming whole. And maybe, for the first time, you are finally growing up the right way. Not through pressure, Not through fear, but through truth. You never had a childhood, but you still have a future. And this time, you get to write it.
Life is short, but words live long. See you next time with more golden words. Until then, take care and keep smiling.